How's it going, my G's? Hope everyone's having a great day. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like and subscribe, and check out the links down below to my tuition, my presets, my Patreon, my mastering services, all that good stuff. Let's get into today's video. I'm going to show you how to make a UKF style lead in Vital, and let's have a little listen to what I've come up with today. And got to give a big shout out to my main man Aiden, one of my students, who actually wanted me to make this kind of lead, and I've just adapted it since then and further tweaked it and added in some other kind of cool sounds. But firstly, we're going to start off by listening to the loop, then we're going to talk about the sound design of the patch, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the MIDI and the layering and sort of post-processing as well. So stick around, I think you're going to enjoy it. I should probably unsolo it first. Stick around, I think you're going to enjoy it. So, pretty nice if you would agree, I think it is. It's not the kind of style of music I make, but I love to experiment with a bit of sound design. And we're going to be talking about this bass here. Sorry, lead. So let's jump straight into the Vital patch. And firstly, we'll discuss the modulations that I've got going on. So, modulation-wise, we have 6 main things happening. You can actually only hear 4 of them in this loop though, because I haven't played with 2 of them. But yeah, firstly, we have an LFO with a simple shape here, and this is just being tracked to a number of things, mostly the filters. And how I started off this bass was, I started with a filter movement. So I started with my filter 1 on, making a kind of low pass filter, and then a bit of a phaser filter to give some more mid-range expression, to just a saw wave on its own, and that's how I started the sound. And yeah, then I quickly went on to chorus it as well, but we're gonna go on to the effects a little bit later. The LFO3 here I've got is just another kind of shape, but it's kind of almost the opposite. Well, it's a bit different, and this is also just tracking to a different filter, and also a little bit of the distortion from the FM from oscillator 1 here. Another modulation I've got, which is very important, is the random one, and I've tracked the random to the tuning of all of these oscillators, and it's at 0.3 on all of them, and it gives us this kind of tape effect. Essentially what you're doing when you run something through like a tape player that's really old and shitty is it kind of doesn't play always at the right speed, and it changes the pitch a little bit. So that's the effect that we're emulating by putting this on our oscillators, and it results in a much more natural sound because the pitch kind of moves a little bit randomly. But it's just very small amounts, you know, but very important to get a nice juicy sound. And then I've got a couple of macros here, and one is a softer one, which is where I've just changed some filter positioning, and I've also just put this to the attack of the sound, so it has a slower kind of fade in. And also, I'm going to give this preset away to you guys if you leave a comment down below, and if I receive 10 comments, because I think this is quite a nice patch. Yeah, but if I get 10 comments in total down below, then I'm going to put a link in the description for the Dropbox download. Yeah, so that's kind of the main modulations then. And I've got another one here, which is just a bit of low pass filtering, and I've done that on the effects later on. And I've got a bit of reverb as well, so we can sort of... You know, you could use it for an intro, or you could fade it off, you know, so you can play the patch sort of expressively throughout the whole duration of your song. And yes, so let's move on to the voicing then. So we've basically got 3 saw waves, and all we're doing is we're tweaking the timbre of the saw waves by using the effects here. So the shepherd tone on the first one, the form scaling here, and I'm just tweaking these very, very slightly on all oscillators just to find the best result. Okay, and there is a bit of FM going on. I've done it all randomly. I've just tried to find the best combinations really, and there's no right or wrong way of which one should go into which one. It's just trying them all out. So it turned out that if I chucked this one into this one, it sounded pretty cool on this FM here. just made it a little bit dirtier. And similarly here, I'm FMing from oscillator 2 on this one here. Just to get a nice blend of saw waves together. And what I've also done, most importantly, is I've pitched them all differently. So first one's at 0, second one's at 7, and third one's at -5, which is basically also 7 semitones up, but from an octave down. So it's kind of like a power chord, essentially. I think that's the right terminology. Correct me if I'm wrong. A little bit of white noise, which is going into this one here on the FM. I've left them all at random because it's a nice spread out, wide kind of lead sound, loads of chorus and reverb. I don't need it to be consistent every time. I want it a bit random. Random. But yeah, very importantly, we've got some filter movement going on that's kind of giving it the character, because if you take those off, still very cool, a lot louder, but with these guys on, just kind of controlling the mid-range and causing that expression that I kind of wanted from the sound. The last thing to note I've also done on this page is I've put the velocity onto my macro here, which is my softer macro, so I can sort of play around with the kind of expression of the bass in the MIDI, which I'll do later on. So yeah, let's move on then to the effects. I think I've sort of covered the basics. Obviously, like, I can't really recreate it from scratch now because I spent a lot of time making it, so I'm just trying to show you what I did. But the thought process behind it was to blend 3 different saw waves together at different pitches, focus on the filter movement on the mid-range, and, you know, tweak that on an LFO to give it a nice bit of movement, and then blend the saw waves together with FM and fine-tuning the effects here. One last thing before we move on, I did forget, is I unisoned just the third one, because I tried to unison all of them, but only the third one seemed to work. So yeah, it just gives a nice bit of spreadage there. And on the advanced tab, you can change the unison mode, of course, as well. And I've gone from unison to harmonics mode, and it just had a little bit of a brighter sound in this case. All trial and error, to be honest. Yeah, so with the effects then, I straight away slapped on a chorus, which is really important, because that just really made it larger than life straight away. Reverb again is making it larger than life, giving it a nice tail, and the mix is also tracked to our macro here, so we can play it in and out nice and easily. And then because the compressor's coming on after this, it really accentuates the reverb quite a lot. So I've had to control the compressor on the mix, and this is also going on my LFO, so I'm using the compressor to create a dynamic extra movement in the sound. If this is all too confusing for you, then just book a one-on-one lesson with me and I'll help you one-on-one, and that's a one-on-one lesson, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, I love teaching, so yeah, I've always got space for new people, even if you are 7 feet tall with red hair. I don't really mind. Yeah, nothing against redheads or tall people. That's just the first words that came into my head that made no sense. Don't judge me. Filter. Taming a bit of that high end and a bit of that low end because it's a lead, and making it a bit more expressive in the mid-range. Tracked to the LFO 3 again here on the mix. And then, yeah, finally, which is a little bit of a boost with the EQ. And then I've gone on to a high shelf here, and I've tracked my high shelf to this low pass function, so you can see it comes down. So I could use it for a nice soft intro, for example. Then there's a tiny bit of delay on the end on a ping pong mode. You just get this slight left and right tail that's very quiet but very, very sexy. And yeah, that's basically the effects. And so if we just go back to the MIDI now, just play the loop one more time. A lot of these other sounds I've used in here will be included in my newest Vital preset pack, which will be out around the same time as my birthday, which is very soon. And I'm also going to drop a new music video around then. It's going to be a lot of fun, so stick around on the channel for the next week and a half or so, and you'll be hopefully very, well, what will you be? I don't know. It's your life. You decide what you're going to be. I'm going to be excited about it, and I hope you are too. So, what I've done in the MIDI to make it really, really exciting is I've put on the glide function at 0.4, and I've put it down to voices at 1, always glide, and legato on. And then I've played out a really nice kind of pattern, which actually started off like this. But then here's one I made earlier. I actually went ahead and added some sort of grace notes, so it kind of glides up and down. And what I did is I just kind of played out the patch on loop, and I just hit a key every now and again. And if it sounded cool, I pressed capture audio, and then it stayed in there. Sometimes I moved them around a bit as well, but don't tell anyone. So we get lots of nice changes in pitch, which is really important to keep the listener's attention, because otherwise, if you don't, they'll probably just go back to watching underage girls on TikTok or something like that. So make sure you do that. Very important. And then, yeah, that's kind of the MIDI patch. And I've actually just copied that over to a bass patch below. And I've taken out some of those pitch modulations because I wanted the bass to be a lot slower and simpler, like a big man playing a tuba who can't quite keep up with the lead synthesized guitarist. Oh, thank you, Logic. I love you too. So with the post-processing then, I've taken out some of the low end on the lead here, so it kind of leaves space for the bass, space for the bass. And then I've added a fresh air, which is a free plugin, and I've turned it up a bit just here. I don't really like this setting. That needs to go down. This one to add a bit more sparkle. It says that this one is better for sparkle, but I don't believe it. I think this one's better for high sparkle. I don't like that. I like the presence though. That's the sparkle for me. They've got it wrong. Yeah. Then on my bass here, I've just taken out a little bit of chunk of mid-range where the kind of lead was fundamentally sitting. And yeah, together, I haven't sidechained them. I haven't really done anything else. I've just kind of slapped this project together in a matter of minutes. But yeah, I hope you like that bass. And yeah, like I said, stick around on the channel, subscribe if you're new, because I'm going to be dropping some bombs in the very, very near few days. And yeah, highly suggest taking a one-on-one lesson with me as well. You can find the information down below. Even if you think you're good enough already, I can always give you some inspiration, motivation, help you a little bit more. It's not very expensive either. I do it mostly because it's something that I love, and so I don't need to charge a ridiculous amount of money for tuition. But yeah, check that out. Check out my Patreon Discord community as well if you want to join my inner circle gang. We've got some wicked people from all over the world in there who are just, yeah, such nice people and there to help you with all your production needs if I'm not around, because I'm on some kind of rampage somewhere. Anyway. I've been Artifact. You've been a viewer. Thank you. Goodbye.